Space is a quiet place. It is a vast, dark canvas. On this canvas, stars are painted like tiny, brilliant diamonds. They stretch on forever, a silent, beautiful show. Our ship, the Odyssey, floated through this incredible emptiness. We were a small speck in a huge ocean of darkness and light. Outside our window, a distant galaxy swirled like cream in coffee. It was a spiral of purples, blues, and golds. We had been traveling for months. The view never got old. It was a constant reminder of how small we were, and how much there was to explore. The universe felt peaceful, like it was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Inside the Odyssey, the feeling was just as calm. We were a team, a small family far from home. I floated past the control panel, my fingers brushing against the cool metal switches. Every light was green. Every system was nominal. Commander Eva Rostova was in the observation deck, her face lit by the soft glow of the Earth, now just a tiny blue marble in the distance. She was sketching the constellations in her logbook, a small smile on her face. Our engineer, Kenji Tanaka, was checking the life support systems. He hummed a quiet tune, his movements slow and deliberate. We were all completely relaxed, confident in our mission and our ship. The gentle hum of the ship's engines was the only sound. It was a comforting white noise that we had all grown used to. It was the sound of safety, of progress. I checked the long-range sensors, a routine task I had done 1,000 times before. The readings were stable. The path ahead was clear. We were on a long journey to Proxima Centauri b, the closest exoplanet to our solar system. It was a mission of discovery, a chance to see if life could exist beyond our world. We felt like pioneers, like the explorers of old who sailed across unknown oceans. Our ocean was just much, much bigger. We had just finished our evening meal. The freeze-dried food wasn't great, but we made it fun. We would make small food balls float in the air and try to catch them in our mouths. It was these small moments of joy that kept our spirits high. The mission was long, and the isolation could be difficult. But together, we made it feel like an adventure. We were living a dream that so many people back on Earth shared. We were astronauts touching the stars. We had no idea that our peaceful journey was about to be interrupted in the most violent way imaginable. The universe had a surprise for us. It started with a flash. A single point of light far off in the distance suddenly grew brighter. It was not like a star. It was too intense, too sudden. We all stopped what we were doing. Eva pressed her face against the observation window. "What was that?" she asked, her voice quiet but filled with curiosity. I floated over to the main console, my heart starting to beat a little faster. The sensors were going crazy. A massive energy spike was being detected, originating from a star system we had just passed several days ago. It was a system with a large gas giant, a planet we had named Kronos. It was a beautiful planet with swirling bands of orange and white. Then, the unthinkable happened. The planet Kronos seemed to ripple, its perfect sphere distorted, and then it simply came apart. A silent, terrifying explosion erupted in the void. It was beautiful and horrific at the same time. A wave of brilliant white light expanded outwards, consuming everything in its path. We watched in stunned silence as a world died before our very eyes. We had never seen anything like it. It was a cosmic event on a scale we couldn't comprehend. The light from the explosion was so bright that it washed out all the other stars in that direction, a blinding testament to the power we had just witnessed. Before we could even process the destruction of the planet, something new began to form. Where Kronos had been, there was now a darkness. It was not the normal black of space. This was a deeper, more absolute black. It was a hole in the universe, a spot where light itself could not escape. It grew rapidly, pulling in the debris and gas from the explosion. A black hole. A brand new, ravenous black hole was born from the ashes of a planet. I had studied them in theory, read every book, and watched every simulation. But seeing one form in real time was a completely different experience. It was pure terror. The ship suddenly lurched. A violent shake threw us against the walls. Red lights flashed across the bridge, and a loud alarm blared through the ship. "Gravitational pull detected, it's off the charts," Kenji yelled from the engineering bay. The black hole wasn't just consuming the remains of Kronos, it was pulling on us. Its gravity was reaching out across millions of kilometers of space and grabbing hold of our tiny ship. The calm was shattered. The peace was gone. Our mission of discovery had just turned into a desperate fight for survival against one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Panic set in. My training kicked in, but my hands were shaking. "All power to the main thrusters. Full reverse, Eva commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. She strapped herself into the commander's chair, her fingers flying across the controls. I did the same, trying to stabilize our course. The ship groaned under the strain. The metal creaked and shuddered as two opposing forces fought for control, our engines pushing us forward, and the black hole pulling us backward. On the main screen, the black hole loomed larger and larger. It was a monster, a gaping mouth ready to swallow us whole. We fought with everything we had. Kenji rerouted power from non-essential systems, pushing our engines beyond their safety limits. "It's not enough," he shouted over the intercom, his voice strained. "The gravitational pull is too strong. It's increasing exponentially." I could feel the ship being pulled backward, inch by inch. The stars outside the window began to stretch and distort. They looked like long, thin lines of light being pulled into the darkness. It was a phenomenon known as spaghettification. The very fabric of space-time was being warped around us, and our ship was caught in the current. The alarms grew louder, more frantic. The ship was starting to come apart. Panels sparked, and a piece of equipment broke loose from the wall, flying across the cabin. We were losing the battle. The black hole was no longer just a dot on a screen. It filled the entire view from our main window. It was a circle of perfect nothingness, surrounded by a swirling disk of superheated gas and dust, the final remains of Kronos. We were on a one-way trip to the center of that darkness. There was no escape. Eva looked at me, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and acceptance. We had done all we could. The moment we crossed the event horizon was strange. It was not violent. Suddenly everything went quiet. The alarm stopped, the shaking ceased, the ship just floated. Outside, there was only blackness. The stretched stars, the swirling accretion disk, it was all gone. We were inside. We had crossed the point of no return. A strange feeling of peace washed over me. My body felt heavy, then incredibly light. My vision blurred and the faces of my crewmates faded into darkness. I felt a powerful sense of falling, of tumbling through an endless void. Then, there was nothing. Consciousness slipped away. I woke up to a gentle warmth on my face. It was a strange sensation after the cold of space. My head was pounding and my body ached. I slowly opened my eyes. The first thing I saw was not the dark interior of our ship. It was a bright golden light filtering through the main viewport. I pushed myself up, my muscles protesting. The ship was silent, but not in the empty way of space. It was the silence of a powered-down machine. I looked around. Eva and Kenji were also beginning to stir, groaning as they unstrapped themselves from their seats. We were all alive, but where were we? I stumbled to the window and looked out, my breath caught in my throat. We were not in space. The Odyssey was resting on solid ground, nestled in a valley of soft purple grass. The sky was a pale orange, and in it were not one but two suns. One was a large golden star, and the other a smaller white dwarf. They hung in the sky together, casting long double shadows on the alien landscape. Strange, glowing plants that looked like giant bioluminescent mushrooms dotted the hillsides. The air outside, according to the ship's external sensors, was breathable. It was a world teeming with life. Kenji ran a diagnostic on the ship's systems. "The engines are dead. The long-range comms are fried," he reported, his voice a mix of awe and worry. "Navigational computers are confusing. The star charts don't match anything in our database. Not a single constellation is familiar. We were lost. Not just lost in space, but completely displaced. The black hole hadn't destroyed us. It had transported us. It was a wormhole, a gateway to another part of the universe, or maybe something else entirely. We were somewhere unknown, somewhere new. We stood together at the window, looking out at the strange new world. The fear was still there, a cold knot in my stomach. But it was mixed with something else, a sense of wonder. Our mission to find a new world had failed, but in a way, it had succeeded beyond our wildest dreams. We were pioneers on a shore no human had ever seen. We were aliens here. We had no idea what dangers or wonders this place held. We had no way home. Our journey through the cosmic anomaly had ended, but a new, even more uncertain adventure was just beginning. We were in a different place, and maybe even a different time.